Stand on my own 2 feet. Yeah. God made me the man you see. So I stand on my own 2 feet, 10 toes down. Sometimes I hate the rules of my society. Feeling strength in my sobriety. Didn't really need the fame or notoriety, but respect on the side of my success.
Hey, what is going on? Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is your host, FERMI, coming to you with another episode of the Music Producer's Treasure Box. Woo, it is so good to be back. I tell you what, we took a little bit of a hiatus on the show just due to everything that was going on in the world. To be honest, it was probably the perfect time to double down and do more podcasts than usual. But I don't know, man, maybe it was time to face the music of Mental Health Month in May, of just calamity from moving down to Los Angeles. I can't make a lot of excuses, but I can say that I am back and I am super excited to have an artist on the show today that is not just a rapper, not just a singer, not just a producer, but someone who is highly skilled in technical craft when it comes to mixing and mastering songs. And man, this dude's music, he has 4 songs out on SoundCloud, which I linked to in the show description. Reid the Outlaw comes through with the diversity and the dynamic elements of his music. When you listen to this guy's songs, you never know what you are about to get. But one thing that is apparent is that you are going to get high quality songs that feature amazing vocals. He has got his vocal mix down. His compression, his mixing and mastering are on point. And he's got some creative sound choices that go into his productions. Reid the Outlaw sells his beats to artists and works with artists on their mixing and mastering and their whole release, really. He can do the whole track for you. So reach out to him if you're interested in that. But if you're just interested, like I was, to learn more about his story, how his upcoming in Detroit and his time in the military has created and shaped him, then you will enjoy this podcast. Look, before we jump into the interview, I want to ask everyone out there, please subscribe, follow, whatever it's called on the platform that you are listening to this on, do it, and please drop a review. It would mean the world to me if you drop me a 5-star, 3-star, 1-star. I don't care as long as you just tell me your thoughts on the show and drop a little comment so that other people can find the show. It would mean the world. All right, without further ado, I gotta bring in my boy from the D, Reid the Outlaw. Let's go. All right. I have got Reid the Outlaw here with me, all the way from Detroit. How you doing, my man?
Man, I'm blessed and I'm excited and I'm grateful, man. Just, moving forward in life, man, putting all the required and a little bit of something after that, man. Happy to be here.
I feel that, and you've got a lot of things going on in terms of your background story. I don't even know the full thing, but I know that you were or are in the Airforce. Sounds like you're moving to LA soon, and you've been producing for a long time. You're not just an artist, you're a producer, and you're not just a producer, you're an audio engineer. So Tell us your story. Tell us what you're all about, my man.
Absolutely, man. So like you're saying, man, I was born in Detroit, man. Grew up around the area, man. Did everything, grew up around everybody, all types of people. Yeah, man. My father was a recording artist, man. He's been in the business for about 38 years. He was in the gospel music industry.
Awesome.
So just grew up around music, man. Grew up, I was a church kid too, man. So, I grew up around that, so I got to see that real rigorous standard for quality as far as musicality goes. So that was such a blessing. And then, I went to college for a little bit at a bigger college, Eastern Michigan, went there for a bit, was a college athlete for about 2 years. Then, then that's when my epiphany of music came, because I found out I didn't love doing, 10, 200 sprints every day, and killing my body. I felt like, and then do another 2 hours in the weight room just for one race. I was like, man, come on. So, that was a big change. Me discovering my love for music is right around that time. Man. When I put that down, music, and that's when I, martial arts kind of helped it too with the expression, man. I got into Kung Fu, got into Bruce Lee, huge Bruce Lee fan. So I really just kind of started my journey as the introspective journey as an artist. And, so I did that for a while, started singing, started taking vocal lessons in that area, in the Michigan area. and, really started seeing like, improvement. So I think at first when I really tried to get serious, I was a singer songwriter. I thought I was always going to be. And just because you just did what you did, that's what your strong suits were. So I did that. And, shortly after that, man, I wanted to go see the world. I felt like I didn't have enough to talk about as an artist, not enough experience outside of just, a college kid and, a music kid growing up. So I was like, all right, let me do something different. And, so that whole military thing called me, man. It was crazy. It was crazy timing. Right move for me at that time. So, I did the Airforce gig, got a really random job that I did not expect to be as serious as it was. And, I didn't expect to, looking back, I never thought I would have been somebody working on explosives, doing that kind of thing like that. So I was just like, whoa, holy smokes. And I got to travel with it, man. Got to live in California, actually, the Lompoc, Santa Maria area, where the Vandenberg base is at. So we had to learn all that and meet a ton of people. My first actual song I really recorded was actually in California at that Santa Maria place. So, and that just really kind of got everything started for me being serious. And, so I just did that whole thing from there while I was in the service. A lot of the folks were, my squadron, as they call it, the big unit I was part of, super supportive of that, which is really crazy. They love to see, their airmen doing other things outside of what their actual duty is. And, I got a lot of support from that. Worked on music at that time, made like at least over a 4-year period, probably like 5-6 songs, and that was the best I could do at that point. And, then after I got out of there, moved back to Detroit, got around my old buddies who were, really working hard, doing music. They were, one in particular, he was mixing for like some of the bigger artists in the city, like Iceberg Bezo and Cash Doll and people like that. La Brittany, these are some of the local names that kind of just, breached that next level stardom for us. Local legends did that. So really got to learn a lot from him. But as busy as he was, man, he was the one making my beats for a while too. And I just needed, man, he was just so hard to get in touch with. So that's how I got into producing, man. Just because I just did not have the access to guys like that. And I got tired of waiting for it. My career couldn't wait on someone else's time. If that was the case, I'll be 50, man. You know what I'm saying? Waiting for that. So, that's what made me get into it. I started going to Schoolcraft and learning just some basic things about production and audio engineering. That's what really took off. Nice. And, got even I was running a small studio for about a year and a half. As the engineer there, and really gave me a lot of great experience, learned a lot of things. Even some of the negative things were very in the long run became positive for me. Yeah. And since then, man, I've just been trucking, bro. Just just trying to put out as many songs. I was part of a small production company for a little bit called Release First. We didn't get it wasn't pretty much a good fit for me. Just different viewpoints with me and the owner. And, but the best thing was that just after that separation, I'm free again. So, but I did a lot of growing as an artist, as a songwriter and as a, complete creative. Totally. So it was wonderful. So now, I'm making this next move. Like I was telling, we might have spoke earlier, making this move to LA. This city of angels, where there's a lot of opportunity in it for the entertainment aspect. And, we just been pushing these singles and pushing these songs. And I'm just really impressed, by people's reactions to it. A lot of shares, a lot of likes, a lot of comments, and it sounds like people are really responding positively to just something different musically, Totally. I'm excited, man. That's pretty much me in a nutshell, bro.
I noticed that the response on SoundCloud was through the roof. I'm actually planning to promote the song, obviously through the podcast and other things, but I was just like, whoa, he's getting a lot of love. You've got songs with like 60,000 likes. You got the new one, I think up to 24 or something already. I just checked earlier. And I mean, what's more importantly than any of that stuff, in my opinion, is people are engaging. People are like, yo,
Absolutely.
that was sick. I'm feeling this. That part right there was my favorite, like whatever, right? And
Yep.
getting a good response, man. So good job. And I'm wondering if there's any secret to that success that you could share with people. Like, are a lot of those
Absolutely.
people offline folks that you've linked up with? Is it all from the net? Like, I don't know. What's your tips on that? Because that was very impressive.
Absolutely, man. It's, you know what? I've learned some of these things through trial and error. You know, because sometimes, man, you do it like everybody else does. You know, they want to get their song promoted, so they look for promotion services, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got some folks who, you know, they'll do the whole thing with, oh, I'll put you in front of like 100,000, right? And then, you know, and it's like $20. Well, like, oh, I can sacrifice $20, right? You know what I'm saying? Something, and it's really just a lot of times people just, they got like the little click farm thing going, spots and all that stuff like that. So sometimes I can understand from an artist standpoint, it's very hard to decipher what's a real thing and what's a fake thing, you know? So a lot of times it was trial and error. I'll be honest with you, man, Fiverr is the way I came in contact with you. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like that's one of what there's legitimate people who really care about music, who really care about promoting good music. Really the biggest thing you got to do is just find them, you know, you got to go out and try it, have a budget, and including that budget is just kind of, all right, if this doesn't work how I thought it was, all right, that's part of my budget, that's part of my business expense, you know, man. Sometimes that's really valuable because you learn.
Yeah, I've noticed because that promotional thing that I'm doing on there is somewhat new, last few months. But how many artists right now actually have a budget to promote? And it really excites me. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons I started this show last year was to give insider tips to people about more than just beat making, although we do that too.
Absolutely.
But how to write a press release, how to promote your music, how to think out a release strategy rather than just popping it out of the blue and hoping that it goes somewhere. Because it might, but you know, a strategy is preferred. So
Absolutely.
It's been really cool to just see folks investing in themselves, you know, when somebody has a big audience.
Right.
And I think a lot of that's probably come out of sort of Instagram shout outs are more well known than anything right now.
Absolutely.
And it's just cool to see because I definitely know just over the years that has evolved more. And I think artists are becoming smarter in terms of realizing, okay, making the music, it can be fun. It can even be challenging. It's what I love, but there's a lot more to it after that song is given birth. It's like, you don't just have a baby and that's the end. That's like your song. You're going to have to like, you know, do some things.
You got to, I mean, that's a perfect analogy, man. It's like raising a kid, man. I mean, I'm now, you know, I don't have any kids, so I'm not going to talk like I'm just some kind of parent. I got that kind of, you know, experience.
I'll give you any tips if you want them.
Hey, see, that's going to need it, man. I'm looking forward to that one day. But, you know, it's like you got to teach it. You got to cultivate it. You know what I mean? Because there's plenty of people, man, who got a great song, you know, but if nobody hears it, all right, it's going to be the greatest song we never heard.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of folks, I mean, it's not necessarily anybody's fault, you know, because a lot of these things are kind of, a lot of folks don't, when they make something, you know, they don't necessarily give you the keys to the kingdom necessarily because, you know, some people feel like if I tell you the secret or I tell you one of these things that's kind of like those intangibles or just one of those unofficial, really important things that somehow it's going to take away from their success, which is, you know, I think bogus, man. Like, you know, there's enough people out here who love music and love different kinds of music to where, you know, you can make a fan. You can make, and it doesn't mean that you're taking someone's fans because you're making dope music. It just means now you got another fan. You know, that's why these things like collabs are so important, you know, because you just bridge gaps between fan bases. And I would say, man, and making the music, man, really is just the first part of the equation.
Totally.
Really is. You know, you got things like visuals you got to do. You got to find out who your audience is. You got to find out how do I put it? You got to find out what places probably will pop with what you're doing, you know, because there's some people, man, you know, they only make music for their city.
Yep.
Only people in their city really know what's going on, especially in hip hop. You know, so you're rapping about, like in Detroit, man, people rapping about 6 Mile, 7 Mile, whatnot, you know. But somebody in, you know, San Antonio don't know what that is.
Nope.
So it's hard for them to connect and relate to that. So it's also knowing your audience, you know, keeping them in mind about what you're producing, your product. It's you got to be. I think I learned this from one of my older mentors, but he said as an artist nowadays, you got to be a businessman first or business person first, then the actual creative. because you gotta know it's just like any other product. The only thing is it's not a physical product, but it's a product. So you gotta, how much does it cost to make? Okay. How much does it cost to promote? Or what's how do we get the return on the investment?
Absolutely.
Things like that. What's the best way for the product? And different products do better with different marketing and different promotion and different outreach strategies. So it's really taking some time to be a student with that. And it takes time, man. It really does. A lot of this stuff I learned, man. I mean, I hate to say it's over 10 years, but just failure.
Yeah.
In a good way, that's just how it goes. That's a good thing because you just learn it. Once you fail, it really sticks. Like, okay, we're not doing that again. We're not doing this again. So, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro. Or you just go, or you're going to be doing something, which, I mean, I think by definition is insanity. You know what I'm saying? You keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. So sometimes it comes to that. But luckily, there are people who are genuinely out there to really help get things going, whether it's critiquing your music, whether it's really getting you a good product as far as how it sounds, whether it's getting it to people who really want to listen to it. And, that's really what's going to come down to. So I think really, really just taking that time to just understand, marketing and being okay with failing.
Totally.
Being okay with failing at a certain attempt because, now Absolutely. No one's half the battle.
Yeah, I just heard like a Warren Buffett quote, I think. And it was just saying how like, if you win, go ahead and be excited. If you lose, go ahead and be excited that you learned something. So
absolutely.
That totally speaks to what you're talking about and how, you've been doing things for 10 years, trying this, trying that. If it works, probably rolling that forward. If it doesn't, okay, cool. Let's look at it closer, reassess and not do it again, but maybe just have a different strategy as a result.
Absolutely. That's one thing that's proven, man. Life is an experience, man. It's probably one of the most effective teachers. It can be a very cruel teacher, but it's an incredible, mentor because the lesson from it a lot of times it can be, I hate to say traumatic, man. It can be traumatic sometimes for you, depending on how it went for you. So. But a lot of times trauma, man, it can steer you away from things that are truly out there to hurt you or truly out there to make you, ruin you, I even say, So it's a good teacher, man. And once you learn it, bro, now you got some kind of streamlined system, man, that really works. I'm not going to act like I know all about it, but like there's some things I've weeded through, especially the music making process. That's the part I probably can say like, yeah, all right, you got to do this, don't do that. Because, there's no, they say there's no right or wrong answer, but I think you got to take that statement with a grain of salt, man. There's things that have been proven over time. If you look at hits records and all these things like that have been proven to work.
Totally. Yeah. There's definitely certain elements or structures when we're talking about songwriting that work for sure.
Absolutely. You don't got to reinvent the wheel. That's what my father told me. So you don't got to reinvent the wheel. You can make that wheel how you want to make it though. Your rim, the way you did your rim design and the way your tire treads are, you know what I'm saying? That's your wheel. You know what I'm saying? That. It's going to perform different. It's going to look different. But you know what I'm saying? The function of it is still the same. Its purpose is still the same. Its buyer, your customer making that wheel is still the same.
Absolutely.
So you just differentiate yourself, but you give them the same. You give them the same thing, something that they know, okay, this is a good song. Because they know, the audience, man, a lot of times they know what a good song is. We all know. So if you just study people who did it right, hey, you bound to have something. Even if it's after 100 songs, you wrote 100 songs, you're going to have probably, just numbers, man. You're going to have probably one.
Yeah, it's true. And, I think the saying is just to model yourself after success. Some folks
Absolutely.
take that too far and copy their way to success. Some people push against that and think they need to totally reinvent the wheel, to your point, or just do it totally their way. And, I'm never going to do anything that's similar to anybody. And I respect that. I appreciate that, to a certain degree. But come on, guys. We know what's successful. We know the model out there that we could follow,
Right.
and no need to completely reinvent the wheel. I like your father's statement of just, hey, you can make it how you want to make it, but
Absolutely.
a wheel needs to be round, guys. Okay,
Yes.
It's not going to work if it's cube or something.
It's not, you know. We just know that. We know these things. We just can make it look different, you know.
Well, speaking of a good song, though, I wanted to actually bring up one of your tracks, Superfly. Tell us a little bit about this joint. It's definitely got a unique sound. And all of your songs that I've heard, the 4 tracks that you're featuring on SoundCloud, are a little bit different than what's maybe the common sound. But I would say Superfly has a little bit more of kind of trendy elements, but it's still really original. So,
Absolutely.
you know, how did you think about making this song, and what is the song all about?
Yeah, it's a great question, man. I came in front, bro. It's just me being on some, you know, just flexing, bro. I had a flexing move, bro. Just, you know, feeling myself. And I was like, okay, it's really kind of just me being also based on the friends I got. You know, all the friends I got, they all just about fashion, man. They all about, you know, just this super confident aura, you know, they carry about themselves. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I was a big fan of the actual, like, movie Superfly, even the new one, man. It was just dope visually, you know. There's the concept of it, just so dope, you know. And I was like, all right, you know, I'm gonna get, you know. And it just kind of, I really just kind of went off the beat, you know, because I made the beat first.
Okay.
And the beat was like, you know, I was like, this is banging. We know it's okay, because you know, trap kind of like, if you get trap right, trap beats, get that right, it's immediately just gonna be like,
you can't not like it.
You're right. It just flows.
You might want to not like it, but you're right. If you get it right, it's just like you like it. It's good.
It's over, bro. It's already got it's in that pocket. You know what I'm saying? It's that pocket of 130, 145, 140, something like that. And everybody that's the sound, you know, so much where it's even permeated pop. So I was like, all right, well, you know, let's find this flow. That's the biggest thing, man. Find the pocket or when you're rapping. But, you know, I wanted to make sure I was talking what I knew. On it, you know. So I was in my extra like Superfly mode, you know what I'm saying? I had a fur coat when I did, you know, sometimes I'll do that, man, just to do it. I know it's summer, bro, but like in the studio, I'm gonna have a.
You would throw on a fur coat in the summer?
I'll use not outside, but like, you know, if I gotta be in my mode, man, I'll be honest. Like they'd be like, what is wrong with this man? You got a fur coat outside, you crazy.
I love that.
Like, baby, but you know, in that studio, just for, you know, the aura, just for the element, you know what I'm saying? Because it's something about a fly get up, bro. When you in that, you know what I'm saying, it really brings out that vibe. And you know, so I put that on, man. I visualized what the song was. You know, I wrote it and then, you know, rehearsed it for a couple of days in my head. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this I'm gonna say that. This I'm gonna say that. I don't say got in character, but you know, just brought out another side of the personality that makes sense. Just put that on there, bro.
That alter ego.
Yeah, you know, because the alter ego is you, but it's just a different way to present it. You know what I'm saying? It's Peter Parker, Spider-Man, you know, same dude, but just he's viewed different.
Well, from a hip hop perspective, like I was always a huge fan growing up of Kool Keith. And so when you say alter ego, I'm thinking about guys like him. Like they would come out as Black Elvis for one album, Dr. Octagon for one. You're like, what is going on with this guy? And every time he'd have like a different just hairpiece or glasses or something.
Yeah, just to mix it up, man. And it gives you one thing that's kind of fun about it, man. It gives you can just hit different, you know. I see music in color a lot. So you see, you know, you hit different colors, you know what I'm saying? Something hits different when you kind of just deep and pull out these, you know, in life, you got these characters, right? We've become through experience, whatnot. So sometimes you pull them back into somebody who you used to be, and then you can even rap about write about somebody who you want to be. You know, you just express that. But this one, yeah, bro, this song just really, man, it was just me on the flex. I wanted to have something that just knocked. And it just, you know, I didn't have to try hard on it. That was the other one. I didn't have to push through nothing. It was just bam, out. I didn't have to do nothing like with the record. It just came out right. You know, meant every word of it. Relate every word of it back to what my actual life was. You know what I'm saying? This is the more braggadocious individual that some folks see sometimes. You know, he just, you know, I'm the man. I ain't got to apologize for it. You know, I'm the man. So, you know, I think everybody kind of has that side of them. You know, they want to bring that side of them out. So I think that was kind of my attitude. Like, okay, let's get everybody who, you know, let's bring out that confident side of somebody. You know what I'm saying? When you walk in the club, you feel like you walk in slow motion. Everything just dope. You know what I'm saying? Your clothes clean, your you smell good, you know, everything's fitted, all that. You just in it, man. And I'm trying to capture that moment of just when you just hitting, bro. You just in the best, you feeling the best you could. And then I just want to translate that.
Well, let's go ahead and play a clip of the song. If you want to hear the full version, though, everybody, go ahead and go down to the show notes. Check out the man's links that he's provided. For this one, check the SoundCloud link. But let's check a clip out right now.
Hell yeah.
Superfly. My team never really on the grind. You can see we on a different type of time. Yeah. My clothes clean, baby, you can check the smell. My whip is clean, baby, just had it to tell. Tell the whole truth, I ain't gotta lie. Got the drip, yeah, like a slip and slide. Yeah. Swear I was the man before I had a plan. Yeah, swear she was a fan before she had a man. Yeah, don't think I got this cause I have the stance. Yeah, don't need a favor, I just need a chance. People always say they're born real just to sell a record. People always say they know.
All right. We are back. Just checked out the track Superfly from Reid the Outlaw.
Yes, sir.
I hope y'all like that. I know I enjoyed it. He's got a lot of different styles. And on this one, like I said, and you were talking about trap, it has that more modern edge to it.
Yes,
it's got some synths that, you know, sound a little bit more familiar to me, that trap drums and hi-hats. Mm-hmm. All of your tracks don't have that. So it was interesting to learn that your father was in the gospel music world. Because you definitely have like a dynamic sound that's not the average thing, and reminds me of, you know, artists that use more musicality in their beats, in their hip hop. And I really appreciate that. So I don't know, how do you even process like how to start a song? Like, are you like, I'm just feeling trap today, I'm going to do that? Or do you purposefully, every 3 songs is trap? I mean, what is your approach, man?
You know, I'll be honest, it used to be that way. It used to be like, all right, I'm gonna make a trap beat, right? Mm-hmm. Just going in with a purpose to do something, got inspired by something. I'll be honest, I go through phases, right?
Yeah.
So it just depends. Like I got other stuff that's on the way, man. It's gonna be completely more out there, like completely different genre, probably even the pop aspect, you know, or even rock and roll. So a lot of times, man, it used to be somebody would give me a beat and I'd write something to it, but like I'll have like let's say if I'm making beats that day, it'll probably be like 5 different trap beats I'll make that day.
Right.
Just because, you know, it just that's the mode I'm in, you know. But then there'll be another day where it's like, all right, some boom bap today, cool. The mode I'm in, you know. And then sometimes it's like a movie I've watched, you know, just hearing just the soundtrack sometimes in the movie, and to bring up something. And certain stories go better with certain sounds. You know what I'm saying? So like,
totally.
You get like, you know, you want to be a little more lyrical, you want to be a little more cinematic, man. Sometimes boom bap is the way to go with that, because you can have these dark elements to it, you know, and even acoustic elements to it that allow you to tell a story like that, be a little more detailed in your story. Yeah. But a lot of times, like with trap, it's good, man. Sometimes, bro, you just find a sample, right?
Yep.
Find a sample. That sample hit the way you want to. You feeling the beat, you feeling the groove. And you just start, you know, building the drums.
Absolutely.
And I think honestly, I mean, this is for any producer, man, really trying to get their, you know, getting the beats right so they got that flavor and that sauce. You know, it's really, I say the most important part, man, is the drums. You get your drums right, you can be having some straight, you know, excuse my language, bro, but like some straight bullshit on the melody, bro, and the chords. It can be some trash, right? But if it's knocking and that groove is right, get them drums and bass right, bro.
Yep.
It's over. You know what I'm saying? That's 80% of the battle with the beats, especially in hip hop, bro. You get the drums right, it don't matter. You can because then you just fit. It's the rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Rhythm is subconscious.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? So you be tapping your foot, don't know why you tapping your foot. You get that part right. The rest of that, bro, knock it out. And then the one on Superfly, bro, it was I just played a melody, man. Mm-hmm. Found a sample first that I liked. You know, they got tons of these producer sample packs out here, you know, and you buy them, and that's what they're there for. You know what I'm saying? Producers use them.
Yeah.
Some people feel like they cheating. No, you ain't cheating, bro. If you do that, layer that's your base. You know, I'm sorry, your base for the track, should I say, or the idea. And you just build around it. You know, that's what I did. I built around it. And then, you know, of course, the idea is how I was off. The idea of the song is how I felt. So you just fit it in there, you know, and now you got Superfly. You know what I'm saying? So
It definitely
it's a
all
process.
came together.
Absolutely,
Definitely
man.
did.
I would just say, yeah. I mean, there's ways to go. There's no wrong way to start your stuff. That, you know, you probably can talk to like 100 other producers who got a completely different method. But, you know, I just say follow your heart with the sound, man. If it feels good while you're playing it, if it's a melody or something you're doing, if it feels good, it invokes an emotion in you, that's a positive one. You know, start from there, build from there.
Totally.
And just keep doing it. And then next thing you know, you got a whole song, you know, that's what you like. And 9 times out of 10, if you like it like that, you just...
Yeah, I like that you're saying too, like you got to get the drums correct. You know, I think there is some songs out there that, you know, I personally love where the drums is basically the whole track. I mean, there might be, there's some other ones that it's, you know, kind of a strange melody. You're like, I don't even know why I would like this, but it's something about the rhythm to it. So you love it. And if you think about what the melody is, you're like, that is so strange, but it works. And yeah, the key is those drums. On the flip side, even as a producer myself, like I've done songs where I love the melody. It's sick. And then for some reason, the drums, like, it's just not right. It's not going to pop. You know, you just know when you start laying this one drum pattern out, you're just like, no, that's not right. That's not the right sound. It's not the right pattern. So that's a great tip. Mastering the drums, getting that down. You know, how have you learned that? Have you done trial and error? What's your drum tips for listeners out there who might be young producers starting out?
I can dig it. I think, man, it's just the biggest thing is finding that pocket, man. You know what I'm saying? Creating that pocket. So I think I personally think if you can find the snare within that rhythm of whatever sample you're doing, you can build everything from that. Okay. Because the snare is like, you know, that's that one that constant, man. You know what I'm saying? It's boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that snare is gonna hold it down. 2 and that 4, bro. Put on 2 and the 4, got it. And then after that, man, it's kind of like, you know, you can just build the hi-hats after that. I would just say if you get your snare right, and at least rhythmically or timing wise, it's a lot easier to get everything going with that, because, you know, the snare a lot of times tells you what kind of style of, you know, hip hop beat it is. Yeah. You know, like, you know, it's a trap beat. A lot of times people they may not be paying attention to it. That's okay. It's just, you hearing, you know, that snare from trap. Yep. You know, that specific kind of snare, that you know, that ice pick kind of snare sample, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of universal through that style. And you just know it through that, but it's saying when you listen to boom bap or anything like that, you know, that snare is like on a 2 and 4, but it's like it's a different count. It's on that 97, so boom. You know what I'm saying? But it's if you figure that out, a lot of times your snare can tell you what's happening. Totally. A lot of times it's really easy to build around. And then it's the texture. That's another thing. The texture or the EQ of it. That'll tell you how to really get into whatever the genre is, because there's certain genres that their texture of the snare is what kind of just, how do I put it? It's like a marker on it. Let the snare lead the way. I think that's like the quote from there that I want to steal. And it's interesting. I never really thought about it that way, but it's so true, right? Like there's definitely definitive sounds that go with different genres or types of hip hop beats. So, you know, if you're trying to do trap on this and it's just not sounding correct, try a boom bap type snare. Try something a little thicker, more round or whatever. And that might be the style that it actually requires. Give it a shot. I agree. I agree, man. You started talking a little bit about, you know, EQ and all that, which drives me to ask you what I was mentioning before we hit record. And that is, for me, very distinctly when I heard your songs, I noticed the professional vocals in the mix. So that is what I think I would love to learn more about. How do you approach that? It turns out you're an audio engineer, so that explained part of it. But you've really got a professional sound when it comes to the vocals, and sometimes that can be a miss. How do you approach that? What are your best practices? Absolutely. So there's a couple of things, man. When it comes to EQ, the best thing is if you got a good microphone. That is crucial with your vocals, because a lot of times the better your microphone, the less work you have to do in your EQ and even in your even in your compression, but really just in your EQ. It's a lot less, a lot less work. A lot of these microphones nowadays, especially these really nice ones, they have their own character about them.
Yeah.
And that can do a lot for you. That cuts a lot of time out. Sometimes there's some mics that are so good, you really don't even got to do anything with the EQ like that, because they're just so clear, and it's how you're recording. So a lot of times if you have quality recording, you'll have quality coming back out. Because quality's going in, quality's coming back out.
Totally.
People, there's a lot of things people don't realize, you got like a little, you do the best you can, absolutely. I've been there too. You do the best you can with what you have and what you can afford. Absolutely. But if you really got some time to really just invest in a good microphone, especially if you are a rapper, I completely recommend that, because there's certain, and then also knowing sometimes what microphones are good for your voice. My voice is a little more bass heavy, so maybe on the or the raspier part. So there's certain mics that I would have, I want more. It needs to add more brilliance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It needs to add more, how do I put it? Less bass. Because, sometimes your voice will do all that for you. You know what I'm saying? Like in my case, it's also learning what your voice is. And some folks, man, it's don't make big, huge changes with their EQ. A lot of folks do that. It's just destroy it, man, just because, a lot of times people just mistake, high pitch for clear. It's not necessarily the case. Sometimes it'll make it so high pitched that it's, it's painful for a listener, and you don't want that.
Definitely not.
But the biggest thing is, yeah, absolutely. But the process I do with my EQ specifically is, in just recording the vocals, is I try to get out all the muddy in the bottom, the low end. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of times where your noise is. It's where your that's where, just a lot of that mud sound is, that boom sound. And a lot of times you don't necessarily need that at first. You can always add that back later. But you just want to get that out as quick as possible. You don't want to do too much. You still want to, keep some of the character of your voice. That's the other thing too. Your voice character, whatever your voice is, that's what makes you unique. So you still want to keep those elements to it. And then you want to get out just the frequencies that might be bothersome to you. Like if you got a lot of box in your voice, you probably want to pull out just a little bit. You don't got to take out like 8 dB like some folks do. When we're just starting to learn. You just do like 3 dB. And it's sometimes in the higher ones you just take down like 1. So I do a lot of reductive EQ first, and then you do compress, put that glue on it, bring everything back up to it, and then you want to pull up all the stuff that sounds good on the third EQ or the second EQ. I'm sorry, and you bring out that brightness, that brilliance to really make things clear. And you definitely, if you want to stack, man. You want to stack. Your voice has qualities to it we want to hear.
Yeah.
We want to hear some of that natural tone. We want to hear some of that raw. So it's okay to stack your vocals. It's just, trust your ears. You got to really trust your ears. And then I would say the best thing is be familiar with the terminology of audio engineering. That's probably the biggest asset I think I can give anybody who's an audio engineer or learning to be that.
So you're stacking multiple EQs in order to pull these different elements out, right?
Yeah, I just make sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like I'll do certain EQs provide certain functions. Some are just strictly for reduction, and then others are strictly for sweetening or boosting. You know what I mean? So it's because a lot of times, this is another thing too. It's probably another little secret people don't really tell about. But when you work with these digital programs, sometimes because there's so many different plugins going on, the processing power of all of it adds something to it to make it sound crazy. It makes it sound, boxy, makes it sound harsh, makes it sound all these things, so the less, sometimes less is more, sometimes more is more. That may sound silly, but
different songs.
Just sometimes on that song, you don't really need a ton of things because, you having the voice and your voice is doing the job already. So you just got to just do a couple of touches here. And now all of a sudden you got a really good track. Now it's after that, it's just, putting it right in the mix. But I would say, know your terminology as best you can. Really try to understand it. And then know your tools. Know exactly what your EQ is doing, what your compressor is doing, what your limiter is doing. what your distortion doing, what it's adding to your vocals. And you don't have to make dramatic movements. Start with one and then move progressively after you get something you want, and everything needs to be, methodical with it. It's a science to it.
I noticed that you're doing different takes too, or possibly post-production. There's times where you will like change the pitch to accentuate certain words, or kind of almost like create a hype man for yourself, particularly pitching down on your songs is what I heard.
Yes, man. I love that stuff. Like one of the tracks on there, Run the Town. I love doing that deep voice because, I grew up listening to, Outkast, man, and a lot of chopped and screwed like Texas music, especially when they had that wave going with Paul Wall and Mike Jones.
Is that not as big of a thing anymore? I was just like thinking about that a few days ago. I don't hear about that as much.
Heard it. That's a good question. Now that you mentioned it, man, the last person I really heard do it that really was successful with it was A$AP Rocky. And people that have really peaked that, but they got these are Harlem guys, right? Yeah. But they had a real Texas sound, bro. It was so cool hearing that come from them. They had a real Texas sound, like Houston, Texas, kind of like, approach production-wise, because they definitely, incorporated that low voice, deep voice kind of thing for the ad-libs or even just the raps. Yeah. And it kind of gives like, it can be a little bit comedic. I know the kids will probably just be like, oh, yeah, that's funny voice. Or even high voice, they get the kids in there, they like hearing just different sounds, funny sounds. So, yeah, I mean, it gives you different, elements with the vocals. So people don't get, sometimes we think our vocals just themselves, that's just rapping, is just enough.
Forever.
And sometimes it is, Yeah. But sometimes you want to mix up things with these songs, because people get bored, man. People get bored quick. Absolutely. So you want to keep them reeled in with different things.
Yeah, I mean, your vocals were really crisp, so I really appreciate you sharing those insights with the audience. And just really enjoyed some of the creative elements of your songs, where they go from singing to rapping, maybe pitching it down for the chorus kind of at the end of each bar. And it really mixed it up, right? And that's definitely just something, if listeners hear your music, I want them to notice and to realize, okay, like you said, some songs, hey, maybe just rapping the whole time. Other songs, though, maybe you start to play with some of those vocal elements and, actually pitch it down or up in different places and just create some more dynamic aspects to the music and keep it interesting.
Absolutely. That's really, and it's like, follow your heart when it comes to that. If you think that's like a good spot where that's at, man, with that deep voice or that high voice or that just, just even slight pitches or just whatever, follow your heart. You never know if it sounds good, it sounds good.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I would say, don't be afraid to try stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everyone thinks something's crazy till you do it.
I hear that.
And you know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, we just keep that audience. Like I said there a little bit, couple minutes earlier, keep that audience in mind. People, most folks is not musicians, man. We forget that.
Absolutely.
A lot of us artists forget that. You know what I'm saying?
We really do, though. We really do.
We do, and we put all this, scrutiny on something so minute that the average person, man, they just checking for the vibe, man. They just checking how it sound, how it make them feel.
That's actually where I've seen it come in the most, is when people are procrastinating about releasing something or saying that it's over. Like, okay, the song is done, move on to the next thing, but they're sweating a little thing, and if you play it to like, I don't know, 20 different non-musicians, they'd all be like, well, I don't hear what you're talking about. I love it. They don't notice. So just, realize that, right? You're surrounded by musicians because you are one. Doesn't mean everybody else in the world is.
Exactly. That's who your audience is. Musicians aren't necessarily your main consumer. Mm-hmm. You definitely want to have them, a lot of times I can understand, we got pride as a musician. So we want to be excellent. Even perfectionist sometimes, but sometimes perfectionism, it can really be a hindrance to you because you never get anything done. You never put anything out. You just have like by anybody else's standards, it'd be so dope. You can have all this crazy dope stuff, but we never get to hear it because you just never. Oh, it's got to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. So you might as well just go ahead and do the best you can, and then know when to be like, "All right, I'm done."
What I want to do is head into another one of your tracks real quick And I just want people to check this out, and then you will be able to tell them what it's all about. Here's a clip from a track called Round Here.
Round here, round here. Morning by morning, we stick to the mission, yeah, yeah. Silent majority, always gonna listen, yeah, yeah. Things of the future, we closing the distance, yeah, yeah. Moving for kill, yeah, yeah. Done with them bomb wrecks, now I make bomb chase, yeah, yeah. Carry this compact if you make contact, yeah, yeah.
All right. We heard Round Here, and I guess there's a little bit of a story about this. What's the backstory on this?
Yeah, man. So it's really interesting. It's kind of silly, but when I moved back to the city after my my military service, I was hanging out with a couple guys. They were all doing their music thing, and this one guy in particular, he went by the name of Evan the Twerk God. He was a local artist at that time, man. And it was one of these instances, man. He's having a bad day, man. So we was all his crib kicking it, you know what I'm saying? There was something that was supposed to happen by, like I don't know if it was his publicist or assistant, but he just came in the room, with everybody on that whole team, you know what I'm saying? We all doing whatever we doing with music, right? But he just stops everything, bro. It's just like, just proceeds to chew everybody out. Like, y'all ain't working hard enough, you know what I'm saying? I'm over here, I watch y'all playing video games, y'all doing this, all this stuff. And we got people really grinding out here, and we just behind, bro. He just, he had one of his modes, bro. He be doing that. It can be really inspirational at times, and other time, like, yikes. So, he just proceeded to lay in everybody like that, and I pretty much just like, I was like, well, okay, around, like, but, in my mind, I'm like, bro, we be grinding, bro. We working hard around here, like, and I was thinking, like, okay, so I, on the drive back to my house after that, man, I was like, I kept saying around here, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, and I'm thinking like Detroit, just the history of just hard work, Motor City, just a lot of blue collar people who really, they do that whole 6 to 6, man, 10 to 10 kind of job, really working hard. It's physical, all these things like that. And that's just kind of like, the aura here, that's kind of the persona here.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, this is making me feel some kind of way. So I went there and just had that, that beat around here, whatever. I made the beat first, and then they just had my around here. Okay, cool. Let's put that in here and let's just talk about it. Let's talk about the grind. Let's talk about sticking to what we're doing, putting in that extra hour, putting in that the extra mile, as some people would say, and then try to just incorporate different things about just factual statements.
Totally.
Pertaining to being like a professional, pertaining to being someone who gets things done, and how that goes. A lot of times, I think one of the lines in the song, I said, I got desire but lacking in patience. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of us, man. We really want something, but we don't realize it takes time. Consistency and things like that, and working hard. So that's sometimes a bane. It's a bane of a lot of people, who are a lot of creative people and who are chasing a dream. We just don't realize that these things take time, but good things take time. Anything you want takes time. It takes time. It takes dedication, consistency. So,
dope.
It was just really the song came about after we just pretty much get
called out, basically.
Yeah, bro. I was like, what?
Accused of not working hard.
Yeah, I was like, man, what? I was like, all right, you make this song. So I thought it was funny. Like, I'm like, all right, I'll make this song. So if I ever see him again, I'll be like, bro, this song was after that day. You just gave us this whole speech, man, this whole lecture, bro, about us not working hard enough, all that stuff like that, So it stemmed from a good chew out.
Yeah.
And I haven't had these songs do forever. I get chewed out, and I'm like, what? Make a song, and it just turns out you liked it. I liked it. I was happy with it. And it sounded different than anything I made before that. So I was like, let's do that. Let's get it finished.
It's definitely got a motivational edge to it. So that one's going on a playlist or something for me when I need that motivation. And I just love when you're talking about getting chewed out, hearing somebody say or accuse you of doing something or not doing something. And I mean, it's just so interesting how musicians can take any kind of situation and create an amazing track. And it's like therapeutic, I bet, to write a song like that, right? And just say like, no, let me show them what I'm really doing around here. We are working hard, and I'm going to talk just about that whole situation and the city that works hard of Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing as an artist, man. That's one of your best gifts. It's one of your best gifts as an artist, man. You observe, you can take anything that you've observed, positive, negative, and turn it into something beautiful. That is like your strong suit. I say play to that strong suit. Always do that. You know what I'm saying? Go through your experience, you know what I'm saying? The pain that you feel, trauma that you feel, the way you make it into something positive, you go ahead and make something beautiful with it, you know, and it makes it, when you look back on that, you know, from years after that, you'd be like, man, okay, I'm glad I went through that. It's hard. It hurt, man. I hurt what I went through. You know, said this thing happened, or this thing was wonderful. But it's almost like you document. It's like you're making history.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're the street journalist right there.
Exactly.
Well, look, man, I want to know a little bit about some of the services that I know you offer for people. If any of the listeners here happen to notice, the show notes has links to it. But, you know, what kind of things are you offering besides just being a musician, you know, releasing dope tracks? Sounds like you're also doing some services.
Yeah, man. So big thing is, like I said, still very much a producer, still very much a composer for a lot of folks. And sometimes, you know, I remember being there. I was there, man. If you're an artist like that, I was there when you're really trying to find, like, you know, somebody to help you get your sound the way you want it, or, you know, get something that's different that just help you differentiate yourself. So I offer services on Fiverr. Offer services on Upwork. And it's Reid the Outlaw, like the artist name. And yeah, it's production. It's, you know, plethora of beats. It can be anything custom if you want that. And also I offer my audio engineering services. You know, that's another big bane of, I think, artists have. You know, we just don't have the funds to really get the sound we want, or, you know, there's a lot, and I hate to say this, man, no, not to rag on any engineers out here, but like there's some folks, man, that charge you a ton of money and it's just not what you want. You know, it's not what you asked for.
Yeah.
You know, you got this vision in your head, this sound in your head that you really, you know, you want it to sound the best it can. And, you know, it just doesn't do that. There's a lot of guys out here who, you know, I hate to say it, you know, but there's just a lot of guys who just, they're engineers in name. Not necessarily engineers in practice. And it takes time, you know what I'm saying? I've gone to school, I've done these things like that, I've learned it that way. And on top of that, I try to be, you know, an artist who, you know, I knew what I wanted as an artist. Yeah. So if you're an artist looking for that, you know what I'm saying, I can relate to what you're going through, and, you know, I can communicate what you're asking for, or communicate with you on what you're asking for, and really try to help you get your sound the way you want it, you know? Because at the end of the day, I do, as much as I love making my own music and pushing my own thing and doing my own thing, I still love helping people kind of create their vision, man, get their thing pushed forward. You know, I had a couple clients recently that just felt so good because they were happy with their project. They were happy with their song. And that's just a victory, man. That's nothing like that.
Yeah, totally.
And so, yeah, check those out. You know, another way, if you want to get in contact with it, man, if it's not just Fiverr and if it's not just Upwork, Instagram is another way I showcase a lot of my talent. So that's another way you can look for those type of services.
Well, look him up if you want somebody that knows their stuff when it comes to mixing and mastering on the finalization tip, or production, whether it is just a song that you're starting out and you want a beat to match a certain vibe that you want to write about, or maybe you have some lyrics. Sounds like you can customize some beats. Look him up. I'm loving that, man. And obviously you're more than just an engineer or producer by name. I was going to say anybody can download some software nowadays and call themselves anything, but the results are in the works that you're producing and putting out there on SoundCloud.
Facts, all facts, man. You know, your work will show, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, you do the good music, man. You put the time, the diligence, the struggle, man. That's the heart. I hate to say that, bro, but if you don't got no struggle through this, if you ain't had no moments where just really you wanted to quit for like a day, you're gonna have a lot of those. Going like, man, I hate this right now. He's getting my nerves. You know what I'm saying? But like, you gotta have those, man. That's what's gonna make you who you are as a professional. At the end of the day, that's what you want to be. If you're an artist, if you're a producer, if you're an engineer, you want to be a professional. You want someone to compensate you for your time and your skills and expertise. And it's going to come through a lot of trial and error. It's going to come through some knowledge. it's being a student or something. And then this other one too, people don't, but introspection, man. Really looking hard at what you're doing and really, evaluating your craft, evaluating it. And so you can, on that path to mastery, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's where you want to be, right? 10,000 hours makes you a master, especially if it's 10,000 hours of the right thing in the right way.
Absolutely.
So you keep doing that, man. And if that struggle, man, look, you're an engineer, you struggle, you're a producer, you struggle, you're a rapper who struggle with your craft, man, 100 songs, 10 songs, man, even just 2 songs later, bro, you just gonna see a difference. You're gonna hear a difference. You're gonna feel a difference because you're gonna grow from that. So embrace it, man. Take it in, enjoy the surreal about it. It's gonna really improve you. It's gonna really mold you and build that character for you. And that's what you want. That is your most valuable asset. Is your character, your experience, and then your ability to deliver that to your audience.
I hear that, man. And I appreciate that inspiration right there, because it even got me excited and reflective, thinking about all the different things that I've done and that I want to do, and realizing that part of succeeding is pushing through those moments where you're just discouraged or you want to give up.
Yes, sir, man. Grit, man. That some people can't. You ain't born with grit, man. Nobody's born with that. But that is, man. Anybody successful, anybody competent. That's the real goal, too. Competence. You are competent, you got to have some grit, man. You got to have some of that to push through that hard or tenacity. You got to push through that hard stuff, man. It's going to hurt. Ooh, you're going to be, it's almost like the gym, man. You're doing that bicep curl or you're doing that squat, you know what I'm saying? It hurt, but boy, you're going to be so much stronger after that. It's going to hurt, but it's good. It's good for you.
For sure. All right, man. Well, it's been so amazing to have you here again. Super excited to meet you, hear the music, and just have a new artist that I can say, I know that guy and he's doing big things.
Yes, sir. Likewise. Man, it's so much fun being here. Like I said, I love talking about this thing that I love called music.
All right. Well, man, what else can be said? Quite an interesting character, quite an interesting cat. Love his music. I hope that you enjoyed the tunes that we played and that he spoke about on the show today. Reid the Outlaw comes through with not only great quality music, inspirational stories, but also those creative juices that I know can inspire you to achieve more, as it did for me. I'll tell you, one thing that really stuck out for me is the fact that nowadays, as a musician, you have got to take the marketing side of your music serious. There's a lot of different elements that people don't think about when it comes to making great songs that extend beyond just the creation of the music. Like I said in the interview, and we talked about in discussion, when you give birth to one of these creations, it's really like your child. When you give birth in real life, you don't just pop the baby out and it goes on about its way. You got to nurture it. You got to, bring it up. You got to actually do things to make sure that it gets the right food, clothing, love, attention, education, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I know I'm a parent, so trust me, I could actually go on a whole episode about that. But what I'll say is this: your songs need a lot more after they're created. Whether we're simply talking about a nice album cover, or we're talking about mixing and mastering, or we're talking about the marketing, which I think is the key point that I wanted to bring up. Music marketing is critical to your success. Some artists out there, they don't want to pay anybody to write a publicity statement for them, to, give them a shout out on Instagram, to maybe give them a shout out on TikTok, whatever it is, promotion on SoundCloud. It is critical that you do things out there to get more exposure for your music and really invest in yourself, because the creativity, the recording, the beat making, yeah, that's fun, but you need to find a little bit of fun and at least eat your vitamins, so to say, and do the right thing when it comes to promoting and marketing your music after the fact. If you want to learn more about that, go to fermimusic.com/marketer and sign up for my email list, where I will be delivering lots of advice about how to market music in the future. You also know, if you listen to this show, that there is an online course on the way that will walk you from A to Z on that process and just give you a lot of different options on, what's available out there for you based on your budget or your approach or your style of music. All right. With that being said, I want to drop one more track from Reid the Outlaw on you on the outro. It is time to go. Hope you enjoy this track. Peace.
I am the truth, little boy. I work to prove, little boy. Yeah. I cut you loose, little boy. You ain't the use, little boy. I do everything that I want to, nigga. Seeing everything that you don't do, nigga. You ain't got a team but a belt, go figure. Drinking Hennessy cause it helped my liver. Oh, you mad? Why you crying? What you tripping for? I'm a lion, I ain't lying, you should listen up. Custom paid, custom wave, custom fitted clothes. Sign the name, cut the check, and then we finished up. Took a couple years for me to chew through the leash.